Zoro, destined to become the strongest swordsman in the world. In just 2 years, he's gone from fighting small-time thugs to being a critical factor in taking down Kaido, a man known as the strongest creature. While his journey isn't complete, Zoro's current level is much higher than most people give him credit for, and in today's breakdown, I'll explain why Zoro is already Yonko tier. Most fans place Zoro at the level of a strong Yonko commander. The reasoning usually comes down to 2 points. 1. He only beat King and Lucci who are weak. 2. He is narratively not Yonko tier yet. For the first point, dismissing Zoro because his biggest wins are against King and Lucci ignores the clear gap between Zoro and those opponents. In his King of Hell mode, Zoro completely outscales them. If we applied the same logic elsewhere, would we limit Shanks to Kid level just because that's his most notable on-screen fight? That clearly doesn't work. Regarding the narrative argument, it feels a bit off. What specific narrative is actually holding Zoro back from reaching Yonko tier? The only concrete narrative we can point to is that he's positioned below Mihawk, his ultimate rival, and below Luffy, his captain. Beyond that, there's no established storyline limiting him to below Yonko tier. With that out of the way, let's look at why Zoro is Yonko tier. Before truly evaluating Zoro, first I need to establish what Yonko tier is, since it's not as obvious as you'd think. When I say Yonko tier, I'm not talking about anyone with the Yonko title. It's about a very specific level of power. Ironically, not every Yonko is actually Yonko tier. Take Buggy for example, he holds the title, but in terms of raw strength, he's nowhere near that level. So the question is, what actually makes someone Yonko tier? The way I see it, the criteria are pretty simple. First, we look at the strongest fighters in each Yonko crew, the ones truly carrying their side in a war. Then, on the marine side, we consider the admirals. They are the top military force meant to counterbalance the Yonkos, which by default places them in the same tier. So the core Yonko tier list looks like this: Shanks, Blackbeard, Luffy, Mihawk, Big Mom, Kaido, Whitebeard, Akainu, Kizaru, Greenbolt, Fujitora, and Aokiji. Of course, there are others who can be placed in or above that group, like Garp. But for this discussion, that list is enough. The bottom line is simple: if you can stand equal to or above any of these names, then without a doubt you are Yonko tier. So does Zoro measure up? He's clearly above Kid-in-Law. On the rooftop he already had better feats, and later he gained advanced Conqueror's Haki, something Kaido himself said only a handful of the strongest can wield. Kid-in-Law only became truly dangerous with their awakenings, while Zoro was dangerous even before unlocking King of Hell. That already sets him apart. Among Yonko tier characters, the weakest shown was Big Mom. If Zoro can reasonably match or surpass her, that makes him Yonko tier. And the truth is, he can. Like I established previously, Zoro is clearly above Law or Kid. The same Law and Kid that were able to outmaneuver Big Mom. By extension, Zoro too can outmaneuver her. He scored Kaido without advanced Conqueror's Haki, and with it he could slice through Kaido's legendary durability with ease. Against King, his King of Hell attacks were so terrifying that King actually changed his entire approach to avoid them, despite easily tanking Zoro's earlier hits. That's how far Zoro's cutting power has come. Add to that his speed, King of Hell Zoro can blitz fighters like Kid-in-Law, while Big Mom has never shown impressive speed feats. So Zoro has superior speed and has enough strength to cut Big Mom. This combo alone should put him above Big Mom. It's even worse if you think about how one of her main powers is a fireball, something Zoro cuts lightly thanks to his Foxfire style. Honestly, when it comes to feats, Big Mom's showing are just poor. The usual counter I hear is, but what about her narrative? Well, her feats and her battles are part of her narrative. So if her performance is underwhelming, that's still consistent with how the story portrays her. But fine, let's set that aside and ignore her weak showings. The question now becomes, what narrative element actually places her clearly above Zoro? Soundman, Big Mom is clearly supposed to be Kaido's equal. Equal? Based on what? She fought Kaido for 3 days and it ended in a stalemate. Yeah, with base Kaido who wasn't even going all out. Big Mom wasn't going all out either. Okay, but if both of them were holding back massively, how do I scale that fight? That's basically two monsters sparring for fun. It's completely unusable. You're missing the point. It's not about the fight itself, it's about what it represents. Oda wanted to show us they're equals. Equals, sure, but not necessarily in power. Roger, Rayleigh and Gaban were called equals too. Are we really saying Rayleigh or Gaban were on Roger's level? No way. And even Kaido himself doesn't treat Big Mom like his equal. Remember his top 5? He put Shanks above her. So what? Shanks being above her doesn't prove anything. It proves Kaido doesn't see her on his level. The man thinks nobody is as strong as him, not even Shanks. If he doesn't put Shanks in his tier, he definitely not putting Big Mom there. That list is outdated, you can't use it. I'm not using it to scale, I'm using it to show Kaido's mindset. And don't forget, he literally called her pathetic when she fell from Onigashima. That's just Kaido being arrogant though. True, but Kaido isn't delusional. He prepped seriously for Oden, admitted Roger was superior, and respected Luffy once he unlocked Advanced Conquerors. If Big Mom was his equal, he wouldn't clown on her. Still, there's nothing that proves Kaido is stronger. Look at the receipts. Kaido feats are better, his own crew treats him as the bigger threat, and the entire world calls him the strongest creature alive. It's not 100% concrete, but if everyone inside and outside the story is pointing at Kaido as the scarier Yonko, what narrative am I supposed to give Big Mom to put her above him? So no, Big Mom has nothing to suggest she's equal to Kaido. Feat-wise, Zoro is above her, and narratively there's nothing speaking against it. But let's say I'm wrong. Let's say Big Mom actually is stronger and Zoro's feats aren't enough. Is there still a path to Yonko tier for Zoro? Yes, but it's a little shaky. Throughout the series, Zoro in base is portrayed as being on par with Gear 4 Luffy, whether against Kaido in Wano or the Seraphims in Egghead. If that holds true, then when Zoro uses King of Hell and Luffy uses Advanced Conqueror's Haki, they should still be comparable. Zoro may not consciously control his Conqueror's emission like Luffy, but King of Hell effectively functions as Luffy's version of Advanced Conquerors. It's not a perfect one-to-one, but the parallel is there. Now, if Kaido saw Luffy as a worthy opponent, and Zoro is consistently portrayed alongside that Luffy, then that alone puts Zoro in the Yonko tier discussion. So whether you scale him above Big Mom directly or through his parallel to Luffy, the conclusion is the same. Zoro belongs in Yonko tier. His journey isn't over and Mihawk still awaits, but right now his feats, portrayal and growth already places him among the strongest in the world. This is just a short breakdown before my next big project. I know it's a strong take, so if you disagree, let me know respectfully in the comments. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.